Hello and welcome to Experiencing Love. I'm your host, Philip Jocks, and I'm so glad that you're here. I'm already deciding that I want to make this one a little bit of a shorter one. That being said, the track record I've had with the past few episodes, especially after starting to record, have been longer than my audio-only podcasts. So we'll see how it goes. Today I had a fascinating experience regarding my own intuition and listening to it. We all have an intuition, and our intuition speaks to us all the time. Some people call it a gut feeling, some people call it instinct. Whatever name we give it, it serves the same function. It serves the function of our higher self or our team communicating with us and letting us know what's right, what's wrong, what's the next step, what's the lesson to learn. Despite all of us having this intuition and hearing this voice or getting these downloads or these knowings, I often hear that most people either don't listen or don't trust in that voice. A lot of people have learned to doubt or question their conscience or their inner knowing. And I may not know why that is, apart from just believing that people stop listening to that voice, or they never even learn to start listening to that voice because they've been burned one too many times before. Maybe they were hearing some message and they took an action based off of what they believed to be the right thing to do, and then they got hurt. When people get hurt, it's enough to reset our brains, to at least make us pause for just a moment. And there's a powerful decision to be made in that moment, in that you can either choose to take the pain and learn and grow from it, or you just feel the pain over and over again and continue reliving that pain and pretty much shrink or hide away. I didn't always believe in my intuition, in my knowing. In fact, for a very long time, I was just on autopilot and let life happen all around me. I let people tell me what I should believe in, what I should do, where I should go, what I should study, what I should eat, how I should exercise, how I should spend my free time, never questioning it for myself, never asking myself what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go, what I wanted to see. Within the last few years, that's all changed, and I chose something different for myself. I chose to ask myself different questions, and most importantly, believing the answers I was getting. Thoughts are just answers to questions we ask ourselves. So I found it kind of odd how so many people ask themselves questions knowing they're going to deny the answer as soon as it comes. Because at that point, why bother even ask those questions? If you know what answers you want and you're not even going to be open to other options, why bother? And that's a conclusion I think most people actually reach. They get to that on their own. They start saying, why bother ask myself different questions? Because the much deeper part of it is they don't even realize any of this. One of the first lessons I learned when I started my personal development journey was it all starts with awareness. If you don't know something is going on, how can you ever expect to do something about it? How can you expect to change the outcome? How can you expect to manage it? So one of my favorite things to experience nowadays is becoming aware of something I wasn't aware of before. Because that right then means I can do something different. I can work to understand it. I can work to accept it. I could then start working with it and changing it, making it a strength of mine, an advantage. So back to the intuition part of things and this experience that I had earlier today. I have these moments. Sometimes I can get 5 in the span of 20 minutes, and sometimes I have to wait a couple days or a couple weeks to get these really juicy nuggets. But these downloads come exactly when they're meant to come. And I often find I hear exactly what I'm meant to hear. And to clarify, that's not exactly what I want to hear, exactly what I'm meant to hear. Sometimes it's in the way of my own thoughts. Sometimes it's in a song title or music lyrics or song lyrics. Sometimes it's in an audiobook and a certain sentence or passage just makes a lot of sense in that moment. Sometimes it's in reading. Sometimes it's a TV show or even a video game. Regardless of where it comes from, there's always this understanding, this knowing that this is something powerful. When I read or hear that line and I know it's relevant to me there and then, it just feels different. It's hard to explain intuition, and I don't think I fully have to, because you know what intuition feels like. You felt it before. The difference may just be that I listen and I believe my intuition, whereas many people, if they do listen, they don't believe it. Communicating with your team, this team above, it's a fancy little thing to do. So specifically, the little downloads I got in the span of, like I mentioned before, it was like 15, 20 minutes, where I'm thinking too much about myself. I don't have enough information to act yet. Let go of doubts and trust my inner voice. And lastly, release fears about money or control. Trust in divine support. Now, all of these may seem random, but for me, they were all too relevant. At that exact moment that I was getting these downloads, I was thinking about a girl from my past. And I was thinking about why she was on my mind. And if I should do something about it, if I should reach out. But I stuck with the question, hey team, why am I so hung up on these thoughts? Because I know that there are no accidents. There are no coincidences. There's a reason. And I just got this sense. I got this confirmation that I, in fact, was just thinking about myself. I wasn't thinking about being with another person. I was thinking about myself around another person. With regards to reaching out, there's something that I will need to reach out about. I just don't have all the information that I need yet. Keyword, need. Because I'm sure it'd be nice to have all the information I want, but sometimes it might just be a single word that I'm missing. And it's my job to put the pieces together. And then I got confirmation on the other two of trusting my inner voice, letting go of my doubts, and then releasing my fears about money or control and just trusting that I have divine support. Or more importantly, just trusting that everything is going exactly to plan. Everything is happening exactly as it should. And a lot of these intuitions are based off of my own beliefs, specifically believing that these conclusions I'm making are right and that everything happens for a reason. I asked myself the question before, like, where does this come from? Where does this confidence or this belief really come from? And I just defined what a belief is to me. And to me, a belief is a statement that you know to be true. It's not a statement that you believe to be true. It's not a statement that you think to be true. A belief that you have is something you know without a doubt that it's true. Everything else is just a guess or a hope, maybe even an expectation. But a belief is based in knowing. And sometimes our beliefs are backed up by evidence. Sometimes they're not. But just because a belief isn't backed up by evidence doesn't mean it's not a belief. I choose to believe that everything happens for a reason because after years of coincidences, many of which stack on top of one another, I just decided that the probability of all those things is just too small. It doesn't make sense. I choose to believe that there's something bigger happening. And you may ask, why do you choose to believe this? And maybe it's simply because thinking like that brings me more comfort and makes me happier at the end of the day than any other alternative that I've tried so far. Before I had any of these strong beliefs, any of my strong convictions, well, I experienced a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression. In choosing beliefs such as this, they ground me. They make me feel better. I often think that I felt depressed and anxious because I lacked beliefs to ground me. Many people get their beliefs from religion. Many people get them from institutions like being in brotherhood-like groups, like the military, for instance. Many people get their beliefs from science and seeing empirical data and facts. It doesn't matter so much to me where your beliefs come from. It just matters more that you have them. Not having beliefs, that is the thing that I believe can be truly damaging to yourself and how you feel, how you go about your day-to-day. When it comes to my intuitions, it's one of those things where I will never know if I'm right or wrong. I will never know what actual truth is, what the facts are. So if I'll never know, who's to tell me what I think or believe is wrong? I could sit here and tell myself I'm wrong, but that's what I did for the first 21 years of my life. I didn't listen to myself, and I experienced what I experienced. I felt what I felt. I guess I just look at this mindset as based on the results that I have in my life. I may not know 99.999% of the things out there in the world, in the universe. I don't know why things happen, not for sure. I don't know why people behave the way they do. I don't even know why I feel the way I feel when certain things happen. But for many of those things, I have guesses. And if I'll never know the truth, I may as well trust that my guesses are coming from someplace. That they're random, but not completely random. I almost want to call it like organized chaos, intentional chaos, maybe. It's just important for me to listen to that voice. And it helps that I'm surrounded by people who also deeply listen to that voice. Heck, one of my dearest friends is a psychic medium. And when I speak to her about what she does and how she does it, I often view her as the epitome of listening to your intuition. I watch what she does and the connections she's making and the things she's saying about the past loved ones of people in her calls or her Zoom events. I ask where that stuff comes from, and she just explains that it just comes from knowing, comes from her team. She trusts her intuition, and she often says it's scary because sometimes they seem so far-fetched, and she wonders where it's coming from. How could this possibly be right? And then 99.999% of the times, she surprises herself. She's right. And she's even told me many stories about people who hear what she's saying, tell her she's wrong, and then email her a week later, making the connection as to what she said and what she was talking about. She made a connection through her team, through her intuition, that took other people multiple days to figure out. And having a friend like that, it really does teach me this moral, this theme, this important lesson to just listen to your own voice. Listen and trust. Give yourself grace that maybe you'll interpret something wrong, and there's nothing wrong with that because maybe that was on purpose too. It's comforting knowing and believing that even my mistakes are on purpose. I trust the direction I'm going in, no matter how easy or hard it feels at times. And I do get this knowing, this message that it's still going to get a little bit more difficult. Or if not more difficult, it's just going to continue being difficult for a bit longer. And when I say a bit, it's going to be a little while. But that little while is worth it. The future me I'm becoming, he's worth it. How cool is it to trust the process, stay centered, and really believe in what you're doing? Maybe give it a try sometime. Or over the next few days, few hours even, really listen to what's going on around you and know that it's not a mistake, that you hear what you hear, you see what you see, and you experience what you experience. All of it is happening on purpose. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this one is a little bit shorter. I can't quite tell with the time, but I'll know in editing. I hope you have many knowings and many downloads. Remember to always fill up with the love, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. I love you.